You won't believe what the Raiders are considering. With Aidan O'Connell out, the team has to find a reliable backup QB, and a perfect choice has emerged. In an unexpected turn of events, Jakobi Meyers, the wide receiver who has been a key part of the Las Vegas Raiders offense, has formally requested a trade. What looked like a promising season, with Meyers reaching 1,000 yards for the first time in his career in 2024, now finds itself shrouded in uncertainty. At 28, the player has emerged as a cornerstone of the Raiders' experience, being one of quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo's most reliable targets. However, the push for a contract extension hasn't progressed as Meyers had hoped, prompting him to pursue new rumors. After a turbulent offseason, in which players like Max Crosby and Colton Miller received significant episodes, Meyers began to feel that his status within the team wasn't being properly recognized. With the wide receiver's contract still up, with no renewal in sight, the dissatisfaction has turned into a direct trade request, catching many inside and outside the organization by surprise. This, of course, leaves a cloud of tension hanging over the future. However, the Raiders have not been shaken. The franchise has been firm, stating that Meyers will remain in the current contract until the end of his contract, unless an irrefutable trade offer emerges. In a recent interview, offensive coordinator Chip Kelly highlighted the qualities that make Meyers an indispensable asset, praising his on-field skills. He can play multiple positions, and his reliability is unquestionable. He didn't drop a single pass last season, which says a lot about his performance and mentality, Kelly said. The big question, however, is how long will the Raiders be able to keep this situation under control? The pressure for a contract extension is palpable, and Meyers has already demonstrated that he's not willing to wait indefinitely. On the other hand, the Raiders' inflexible stance could create an uncomfortable environment, which could affect the chemistry during the 2025 season. Meyers' situation is emblematic of a larger dilemma within the NFL, the struggle between players for financial recognition and teams trying to maintain control of their roster. When it comes to a wide receiver who has been one of the most reliable pieces of the offense, a trade may be a logical solution for both parties. But how far are the Raiders willing to go to prevent that from happening? Now, the question on everyone's mind is, will the Raiders be able to maintain the trust of their wide receiver until the end of 2025, or will a trade become a possible reality? With each passing day, the time pressure is mounting, and with it the expectation of a potential turnaround that could change Jakobi Meyers' future and the Raiders' fate this season. Meyers has proven resilient throughout his career, and it's hard to imagine his relationship with the Raiders ending without some kind of change. Will a team be able to adjust its stance and reach a mutually beneficial agreement, or will the trade request become a turning point that will shape the franchise's future? For now, all eyes are on Las Vegas. Jakobi Meyers' future and its impact on the Raiders' offense remains largely unknown. But one thing is certain: Meyers' situation cannot be ignored, and the impact of this decision could reverberate throughout the league. But if the situation with Meyers is already a concern, the drama doesn't stop there, because the Raiders' biggest headache ahead of Week 1 lies at the most important position in the game: quarterback. While Jakobi Meyers' trade request continues to generate repercussions in the Raiders' locker room, a new and more pressing issue has been keeping the coaching staff awake at night: the injury to Aidan O'Connell, the team's backup quarterback. During the game against the Arizona Cardinals, O'Connell suffered a broken wrist that will sideline him for 6 to 8 weeks, leaving the Raiders in a difficult situation without many viable options. With Geno Smith starting at the position, the team finds itself in a vulnerable position, especially due to the lack of a reliable backup to step in if the veteran Smith were to suffer any type of injury. The injury to O'Connell, who was prepared to be the immediate replacement, has left the team in an even more risky position, considering their preseason was far from ideal. Despite his limitations, O'Connell was still seen as the best option for the backup quarterback role, and his absence creates a void that will be difficult to fill. The pressure is now on the Raiders to find a solution. Cam Miller, the rookie who performed poorly during the preseason, isn't ready to take on the responsibility of being the primary backup quarterback. His inexperience makes him far from the ideal option for the team, leaving the Raiders with few alternatives. The big question is, who will the Raiders turn to as a temporary solution while O'Connell recovers? With the quarterback market increasingly tight, the Raiders may be forced to turn to a veteran quarterback, either through an outright signing or even a strategic trade. The situation becomes even more complicated as Week 1 approaches, and the urgent need for a solution that provides stability not only at quarterback, but also for the entire team, which, with recent changes, is seeking consistency for the 2025 season. Expectations for the coming days are high, as the Raiders face the challenge of finding a short-term solution while trying to prevent an injury to O'Connell from further destabilizing the quarterback position. If the Raiders can find a reliable option, it could be a turning point for the team. But if time doesn't move quickly, the quarterback situation could become one of the Raiders' biggest concerns this season. The journey towards stability at quarterback remains open, and the Raiders have no no time to waste. The pressure is mounting every day to find the necessary balance, and the quarterback situation remains the biggest question ahead of the 2025 season opener. Will the team be able to turn things around, or will the QB situation be the Raiders' Achilles heel? And if losing O'Connell was already a blow, what comes next could change the entire season's narrative. The Raiders already have a target in mind to solve the problem once and for all. Amid the uncertainty surrounding O'Connell's injury and Cam Miller's inexperience, the Raiders have begun exploring potential solutions in the quarterback market. One option that emerges as interesting is Mason Rudolph, the Pittsburgh Steelers' backup quarterback. With Pittsburgh facing a quarterback surplus, the possibility of a trade is becoming increasingly real. Rudolph, with over 18 starts and a solid winning record, would be a valuable addition for the Raiders, who desperately need backup quarterback experience. Rudolph, while overshadowed by the presence of other, more renowned quarterbacks in Pittsburgh, still boasts a respectable resume and could be a great holdover for the Raiders, especially considering his ability to adapt to opposing situations. With the likely low trade price, something around a 6th or 7th round draft pick, the Raiders would be faced with an affordable opportunity to address one of their biggest issues before the 2025 season. While the Steelers have likely been reluctant to release someone like Rudolph, the team's quarterback overload could make him available at a reasonable price. And for the Raiders, adding experienced quarterbacks would not only be a smart move, but also a guarantee of stability at the backup quarterback position. With O'Connell out for up to 8 weeks, having someone with experience playing in pressure situations could be crucial to ensure time isn't wasted mid-season. If the Rudolph trade goes through, it could be the missing piece to ensure the Raiders remain competitive until O'Connell is fully recovered. And while the league remains teeming with quarterbacks with different styles and characteristics, Rudolph's name emerges as a pragmatic option at a time when quick and effective solutions are needed. However, the search for a new quarterback isn't the only dilemma the Raiders need to resolve. The team also faced an impasse regarding the trade request for Jakobi Meyers, their standout wide receiver. While the situation at the quarterback position is constantly under consideration, Meyers' departure could leave a huge hole in the offense, especially considering his incredible 2024 season. The duality of these issues demands immediate action to ensure the Raiders don't lose key players before the season even starts. While the Raiders need a reliable quarterback to help hold down the fort while O'Connell recovers, the pressure on the team to resolve the Meyers issue is immense. The departure of their best receiver would create a gaping hole in the offense that would be difficult to fill. The situation becomes even more delicate as Week 1 approaches, which places the Raiders before crucial decisions with a major impact on the franchise's immediate future. Therefore, the coming days will be decisive for the Raiders' future. Finding a solution for the backup quarterback and making strategic decisions about Meyers' future are issues that hinder much more than simple answers. They impede swift and effective action. Meanwhile, expectations remain high for what the Raiders will do to resolve these issues, as the moves now could define the team's course for 2025. How could Jakobi Meyers' departure impact the Raiders' offense? And what strategy should the team adopt to deal with Aidan O'Connell's injury and the search for an experienced backup quarterback before the start of the 2025 season? Leave your opinion here, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. I'll be back later to update you with the latest Raiders news.